Hey guys, Margie here, and today's movie review is of the 1994 film Speed. This film starred, there's quite the list, so bear with me for just a mo. Keanu Reeves, and I'm probably not saying that right, but you know who I'm talking about. Dennis Hopper, Sandra Bullock, Joe Morton, Jeff Daniels, Alan Ruck, Glenn Plummer, Richard Lineback, Beth Grant, Hawthorne James, Carlos Carrasco, David Kriegel, Natsuko Ohama, man, Daniel, bless you, Daniel Villarreal, get yourself together, Jordan Lund, and Robert Mailhouse. Okay, guys, basic plot on this one is there is a terrorist who's played by Dennis Hopper, and he is trying to extract money from the government to retire on, and the way he's decided to do that is to put a bomb on the bottom of a bus. And the rules are that if you put the bus below 55 miles per hour, or 50 miles per hour, then the bomb will go off. And so you've got this bus that is speeding through the city, and it cannot slow down, and they can't get anybody off, or else the terrorist and his hopper is going to blow everybody up unless he gets his ransom, and etc., etc. Okay, so, and I know it's kind of all over the place. See the trailer. As with every movie I review, I think it'd be great if you'd watch the trailer, or, you know, for the ones of you seen it, you're like, yeah, okay, I got you. Alright, let's jump into performances with this one, shall we? Mr. Reeves, I thought he was good. I did. I thought he gave a really believable performance, and the producers of this film, I didn't tell you who it was directed by, did I? Well, let's get into that for just a mo. Alright, this film was directed by Jan DeBont, editing by John Wright, music by Mark Manica, cinematography Andrzej Bartkowick, written by Graham Yost and Joss Whedon, who was writing on this, was actually uncredited, but he did a good bit of work. I'll get to that in just a minute. Produced by Mark Gordon, who also produced Saving Private Ryan and The Day After Tomorrow. Ian Bryce also produced Saving Private Ryan and Forces of Nature, Pain and Gain, and Almost Famous. Allison Lyons Segan also produced Saving Private Ryan and Broken Arrow. So these guys have all worked together, or would work together in the future, and I'm just telling you what else they've done so you can kind of get an idea of what types of movies they do and what you can kind of expect based on their other work and yada yada. Okay, so let's jump into performances again. Mr. Reeves here, I thought he did a good job, and I heard that a bunch of the producers, or, you know, whoever was doing casting, was concerned about casting him because they didn't think he would be able to handle the weight of the role, because this was one of his, like, earlier films in his career, but they ended up casting him anyway, and I thought he did really well. It didn't blow me away, but there was it could have been so, and he was like kind of the classical tough guy, a tough cop. His delivery and his performance was a little bit like that, but it could have been so much worse. Oh man, it could have been so much worse. And he's young, and the character is everything that I just described. You know, this tough cop, yada yada, no mess kind of guy, so I got to give it to him on that. I thought his performance was really good. Dennis Hopper, I thought was good. I felt like he could have gone a little more over the top. Well, yeah, I hesitate to say that. In some ways, he went a little too far over the top for some lines, but then in other ways, he was just kind of like, say the lines, but I thought he hit a good balance, and it, again, like I said, it wasn't too, you know, like, mwahaha, typical villainous guy, so I thought he had a good performance on the whole. I really did, and I believed him as a villain, so good for him. Sandra Bullock did a good job on her performance, I thought. She had some really good moments, actually, but I do want to say that there was a couple of scenes, one in particular, that I would have loved to seen Sandra give a good ball. I mean, a really good, like, I am scared to death, and please don't, like, you know, there's moments of peril, and she could have just, like, they could have had someone threaten her, and she could have just been like, please don't kill me, and just, like, start bawling. That would have been so great if she would have just let it down. Oh, man. Oh, that would have been great. Again, though, let me say, I'm not saying, I mean, she may have done that, you know, and they may have said, no, we don't like that take or whatever, so I'm not blaming that on her. And again, she may not have been asked to do that, or she may have done it and they may have edited it out. So I'm not necessarily blaming that on her, but I wish that would have been in there. Whoever was responsible for that, I would have loved to have seen that and loved to see her really go for it and go at it with a good cry. But, again, may not have been her call. Let's move on, though, to Joe Morton. Great. Really great. A little stiff, but again, he's playing like a police chief guy, so got to give it to him. I thought Jeff Daniels was good, and like all of his lines were delivered really well. Again, a little stiff, but this is Cops, so I'm giving a pass. Alan Ruck was good. Glenn Plummer, I thought, was great. He plays a driver that gets his car hijacked by Mr. Reeves' character, and I thought his delivery and everything, that was a really funny exchange, but it has a pretty good bit of language in it, so, but it was still, you know, pretty humorous. Everybody else that I previously mentioned was good, but I would have just liked to have seen a little more emotions without just, you know, just like simple raw emotions rather than just like, you know, you having to use words to make yourself seem more, you know, sad or happy or whatever. Let's jump into the directing on this. This is actually Mr. John DeBont's first time directing. Great considering that. And I knew that before I watched this film, and I was like, oh man, this is going to be... Ooh, because so many people, I'm not criticizing them, but they don't do well their first time around. Obviously, they don't know what the heck they're doing, you know. I mean, give them all the pass in the world is me. Like, I totally do. I just had really low expectations from the directing because of that. But he did really well. I thought the directing on this was great. So, yeah, good job, Jean DeBont. I hope I'm saying that right. The editing on this, the guy that edited it, also, John Wright, also edited The Incredible Hulk, so if that gives you any connection to him. I thought he did well. It dragged a little bit, and again, Mr. John Wright, if you had a good cry scene from Sandra Bullock and you edited it out, that makes me sad, because I would have loved to have seen that, but I'm not saying he did. I just would have really loved a good cry scene from her that would have just made her performance, really. Anyway, that's not his fault, though, necessarily. I don't know whose call that was. But anyway, let's jump in. So, on the whole, editing was good. A little slow, but near the end, it drags a little bit, but not too bad. So, great. The music for this, the guy that did the music for this, Mark Mansica, also did the music for Con Air and Training Day. I thought the music for this was good. It's typical, you know, hardcore, you know, kind of danger thriller movie music, but it went really appropriately with the movie. Excuse me. So great job to him. The cinematography for this was good. Nothing really blew me away. I thought most of the lighting was good, but nothing really blew me away. But it was solid. You know, it wasn't awful. The writing for this. The guy that wrote this, Graham Yost, also wrote Broken Arrow. I thought he did a good job, and he came up with the concept for this movie and everything, but Joss Whedon actually rewrote most of the dialogue uncredited. So I'm, you know, kind of torn where to give, you know, assign, you know, credit and all this for this one, but I thought the writing on the whole was good. There were a few unbelievable lines where, again, you're like, if this had really just happened to you, there is no way in the world you would say that, but on the whole, I thought it was good, so, yeah, I'm giving them a pass. It could have been so much worse, y'all, and you know what I'm talking about. Whoa. Alright, I already told you who produced this thing, so let's jump into the Parents Guide before we wrap this thing up. Let's start with the sexual category. There is a few sexual references, and there's like a female backside, but it's not really in a sexual manner. It's just like, hey, I'm exposed, and I don't want to be. So, Yeah, be aware of that. But other than that, nothing in the sexual category. Drinking and smoking. There's some drinking. I don't really remember any smoking, but if there is, it's not really, you know, awful or anything. Let's move on to the violence and gore. Not really any gore. A couple people get shot. And, you know, obviously this is a very suspenseful movie because you don't know what's going to happen. So your kids may, you know, freak out a little bit over it, and there might be some nightmares in store depending on their age. So just be aware of that, parents, because it's a very suspenseful movie. Another reason for the kiddos to avoid this one is because of the language, which is really pretty bad. Not the worst, but way overused. Way overused. There's several religious exclamations, 15 uses of the F word, 32 uses of the S word, 2 uses of B, 7 uses of GD, 2 uses of D, and 7 uses of A. There's some movies that you're like, okay, if you skip past the 3-minute scene, you can avoid like half the language. This is not true for that one. I mean, there's some heavily coded scenes, but it's really sprinkled throughout the whole movie, so it's going to be harder to avoid. Again, not the worst of language, but still disappointing, so just be aware of that. Alright, so let's wrap this baby up here, guys. These are my little notes here that are just kind of random. These are things that stuck out to me. There were a few unbelievable line deliveries from the actors, and there was a little overacting at times, but some of that was, sometimes the writing was bad, but usually it was pretty good, so just be aware of that. Again, I would have so loved a good hysterical bawl from Sandra, and she may have done it and it was edited out or yada yada, so whatever. Tommy, and I have here, as many of you know, I'm a pretty big Tommy Lee Jones fan, if you've seen my review of Lincoln, and I think Tommy Lee Jones would have been such a delicious villain. Oh, he would have just crushed it. Not saying that Dennis Hopper didn't do a good job, but I mean, Tommy Lee is just one of those people. He can play such a lovable guy that you just, like, care about so much, but then again, he can play, like, such an evil person. Like in Under Siege, you know, he was just so deliciously evil in Under Siege. And anyway, I thought that he would have been so good, but he did like 5 movies the year that this came out. So yeah, it's not that he was taking a break. Trust me, he probably just couldn't squeeze this one in. Maybe it wasn't offered. Yada yada. I'm not taking anything away from Dennis Hopper. I'm just saying I totally could have seen him crushing it, but I thought Dennis Hopper did well. The last thing that I want to talk about is a spoiler, so I'm going to put right here where you can skip to skip past the spoiler, and if you skip, I'll see you in just a mo. Okay, so for you that are going to have seen this movie, I thought that it would have been so great to have a possible plot twist. And, okay, do you know the part when it's revealed that, like, Dennis Hopper keeps calling Annie the Wildcat, and Mr. Reeves' character is like, he's been watching us this whole time, and stuff like that. Okay, I thought, because, you know, she had that emblem on her jacket, I thought it would have been so neat, though, if it had turned out that the reason Dennis Hopper knew that she went to, you know, the school with the Wildcats as their mascot is because she was in on this the entire time, and she was like, you know, on the thing, you know, in on the thing with Dennis Hopper trying to destroy the bus too. Now, I know many of you are like, no, because I love Danny as a character. Okay, you know, I mean, I guess I did too, but I just thought that would have been a total plot twist you would not have seen coming, and that was my initial thought when he was like, Wildcat, wait, that's where you went to school. I was like, oh my gosh, she's been on it this whole time. Yes, unforeseen plot twist, I love it. And then it's like, oh, he's watching us, and I'm like, darn it, I was hoping I wasn't hoping she was the villain, because, you know, obviously I think everybody wanted her and Mr. Reeves' character to get together, but I thought that would have been so neat. You guys let me know if you think that would have been cool or not. And then that would have, like, changed everything about the movie. That she has been in on it this whole time, and I don't know. I just love things that you don't see coming in movies that are just, but they have to make sense in a way. You know, like some things happen in movies, like the movie I did a previous review of, Last of the Mohicans, where a girl just randomly jumps off a cliff. I didn't see that coming, but once it happened, I was like, what was the purpose of that? I don't understand. It doesn't change anything about the story, really, really stupid move. But this, it would have been so good because it would have made sense and it would have like changed everything, and it just, I would never, like, I didn't see that coming, and I was like, yes, I didn't see it coming, because I know this is like past the review and all of this, but anyway, I'm one of those people that usually sees the endings coming a mile away. And my friends are like, okay, be quiet, do not say anything throughout the film to us, because I usually figure out what's going to happen. Then I can be like, oh, this is going to happen, trust me, wait, this is going to happen. They don't want to know what that is, so it's usually just like, yeah, be quiet, Margie, because they don't, you know, I can usually figure stuff out. And I think that's genetic, because my dad is like that too. But anyway, I was like, this is finally something I've not seen coming, yes, you know, yada yada, but then of course she, you know, turned out to actually be good, and they didn't go in that direction. But that would have been a really great choice if you decided to take that turn, but you didn't. So if I was making the movie, I would have been like, let's mix this up and make her the villain. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for checking out my review. Oh, I've got to give this one some kind of rating. Okay, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars out of 5. Would I watch it again? Possibly, because it's better than a lot of action movies, but the language is a put-off for me. So it'll be a while before I watch this one again. But as far as quality, would I watch it again? I probably actually would, because it is a lot more suspenseful than so many action movies. And I really just want to get to that point in the movie where I'm like, this should happen, like I just told you about if you watch the spoiler section. So that would have been so awesome. But anyway. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for checking out my review of the 1994 film Speed. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.